Hello everyone and welcome back to Timberborn. This is episode 23 of the One Pod Challenge. This will also be the final episode of this series. In this series we have achieved our goal. We have one pod that has been sustaining our colony. Although right now we are running a little bit short on berries, so we are not quite continuing the breeding at the moment. All the berries have been going into this Earth Repopulator. We have 275 out of 500, so we're a little bit short. And then we're still waiting on some treated planks as well. In the last episode, we continued to plant some more blueberry bushes. We have some right along here. And I think we have some more somewhere else in the colony, but I'm not quite sure. It has been a minute since I played this series, but we are very close to wrapping it up since the Earth Repopulator has almost been fully stacked with all the materials it needs. But there are a few things that we should start working on in today's episode. And one of those is continuing our vertical tree farm. We started making some progress over here, but then there was an update and we were not able to continue building upwards. They have since fixed that. So let's continue stacking all the tubeways, and then I'll get some blueberry bushes planted up here as well. And you guys can probably see there are some visual changes that have been made. There is a big announcement that there is a new update coming to Timberborn, and that is going to be Timberborn 1.0. It sounds like that's when they're going to be launching the game outside of beta. But before that, there's already a lot of changes. As you can see, the bad water and the water looks different. And then they've added several other things, including spiral staircases. So we can unlock that for 350 science. We do have a good amount, 5.5 thousand. We can probably add some more number crunchers to get even more science. Let's take a look at how our power generation is doing. We have just enough over here. We paused all of these engines, but we're doing great on wood. We have just under 4,000, so we can start unpausing some of these. And then we can add a number cruncher right over here. And I did forget that we did connect all of these power systems together. We have some underground power shafts that I think they go over here. So that connects this water wheel system into this. And then we go along here to our main area where the beavers are living now. They're getting all the well-being points up here. We have 62 is their average well-being. Apparently we're missing fermented cassavas. We had a lot of those, I thought, but I guess we are running a little bit short now. We have the cassavas here. Do we have a building paused? There's an engine paused. We have the lumber mill paused, and then an explosives factory. But I don't think that we have a fermenter paused over here. If we take a look in the workplaces, and then eventually we're going to be able to find the fermenters. We only have 2, it looks like, fermented soybeans and mushrooms. And since we have so many bots who are needing a job, this is a perfect building to add in. And we have it automatically set to bots, which is excellent. And then let's see if there's anything else we can get the beavers' well-being up in. The Earth Repopulator will help them. We can probably get some more roofs. And that actually is everything other than mangrove fruits. So we're going to add that in today's episode as well. We have a good spot right here. So we're going to place down a bunch of dynamite and expand the zone a little bit. And I don't think that we should have any problems by going down one level. I know that there's several places that I have actually built up the terrain a little bit, but I'm pretty sure we should have some good space under here. And just like that, they constructed all the dynamite. And unfortunately, there is some stuff under here. We have, looks like there's some bots sitting around in these builders' huts. So we'll need to place some stuff on top of this. So let's pretend this didn't happen and expand it this way a little bit. I'm going to add in the staircase. And then we can also get a fluid dump set up over here. And now we can get some mangrove trees planted. They are not marked to be cut down. Let's see how long it takes. So it'll be 10 days before they can fully grow up, and then another 10 days for them to produce 4 mangrove fruits. And I think that they can just eat those raw, so we don't really need to worry about processing that. But at which point the beavers are going to be fully maxed out, other than the roofs. Although I think that that might have actually been fulfilled. I guess now that the beavers are sleeping, we have enough roofs over here that it is fulfilling that requirement for them. Although I don't actually know how they're getting that requirement fulfilled. I don't really see any roofs over here. Yeah, so I don't think that there's actually any over in this area. So we can add a couple right near the houses. And this honestly might have been where I intended to put them, but then I forgot. So the bots will construct this fairly quickly, and then we can move on to the next project. And hopefully you guys are noticing that the video quality has improved. I changed my recording settings, so now it should be recording at a consistent high quality. And it seems the beavers have made just about as much as they can over here. I guess my intention was to continue to go up. We have this level right here, but we have the start of another level. But that might not be entirely necessary, to be honest. But we can try out these spiral staircases. And as you can see, the footprint is much smaller for using these spiral staircases than the normal ones. And as soon as they get up here, we can start getting somewhere set up for the fluid dump. It looks like they planted the mangrove fruits already. Can this guy... So he can't fully reach these last few. We don't really need a forester to plant over here long term, but in the meanwhile, I am going to temporarily place this one down. Once he plants these few, then we can remove it, just to maximize the space over here. Looks like we have a lot of extra coffee bushes. We don't really need all of these, so we can remove a few of them. And there should be an army of bots coming over to remove those. We can add in a few blueberry bushes once they remove them. And unfortunately, blueberries take even longer than the mangrove fruits to produce the fruits. 12 days to grow up and then 12 days to produce 3 berries. But we might as well start somewhere. In terms of our other resources, they did rearrange the order in which the resources appear here. It used to be alphabetical, but now they have it in the order that they think that most people will accumulate the resources. So obviously wooden planks are some of the first two. We're doing good on both of those. Gears are good. We are running a little bit short on pine resin, and that also is impacting our treated planks. Scrap metal is a little bit low, but we did add another mine in one of the recent episodes. And then pretty much every other resource that we have been collecting is good. We don't have any storage for coffee, so I should probably add that in. And thankfully we have a good spot that we can add some more storage. And we have a large warehouse that is still maxing out on gears, so we're just going to switch this one to coffee. And the drought is officially over, so we are beginning cycle 36. We have been playing in this world for a long time. Looks like we are running a little bit low on power, but that should be fixed. Wait, are these all... Okay, so these are keeping up, I assume. So it looks like the gravity batteries can produce 2,000 HP per minute. So between all of these, they are helping to get it up to what we need it to be, but it is dropping fairly quickly. Fortunately, the drought is over, so the water is returning, and that's going to start spinning up all these water wheels, which will help charge those batteries back up. And then we have so many charging stations over here. It looks like they're all being used, so we can probably turn some of these back on. And we still have 31 bots who are not doing anything. We have paused at least one of these. We can probably pause this one now, since we don't need to be producing bots when they're not doing anything. And then let's take a look at scrap metal collection. We only have 6 bots in here. It requires treated planks and extract in order to produce scrap metal. That's the efficient method. If we just do the regular, it only requires treated planks. We want to get as many pieces of scrap metal as we can. And we can also bump that up. And in terms of extract, we're doing great. We have 700. We have plenty of bad water. And these guys are working their tails off. But it seems like they're keeping up with demand at the moment. We also have another centrifuge, and I think we have even more over on this side. Looks like we have a third one right here, and a fourth one as well. And it looks like we have been going through some fermented cassavas, which is excellent. So we've been building up our resources for that. And then I have been pumping water out of this system into basically a big swimming pool we have over here. And this guy is pumping the bad water out of here, but it seems like he's not making a whole lot of progress. And honestly, this update is fantastic. I just love the visual changes that they made to the bad water and the water. It looks so much more like a fluid itself. Oh yeah, and they also added banners in this most recent update. Let's do something right over here. I haven't used these before. And then the square banner, can you stack these? See, we have 3. If we do overhangs... Oh, we don't even need overhangs. We can just do platforms right behind here. So we'll just make a bucket of these. Let's make a 7x7. So we're going to remove these ones. No, we're going to go crazy. We're going to go all the way across. We're going to make a wall. Okay, we're going to do something, but we're not going to do it right here. Let's remove all of this. We're going to do something really cool, but let's figure out where we want to place that. We are going to enclose this entire tree farm, which is not functioning, unfortunately, because I never placed down this last block or the fluid dump over here. But as soon as they construct those two things, this will be up and running. And now, in the meantime, I'm going to start surrounding this thing with these banners. This is going to be so overboard, but we'll see how it turns out in the end. So there is going to be a little gap, but what we can do is get some levees placed on the side and stack these all the way up here. And then we'll start working on getting this side stacked up as well. I guess I have a little outgrowth of the dirt blocks, so we can remove those. And then we'll just continue working our way up. So let's see, we have 4 different patterns. Are they different colors? No, they're all the same color, but it's just a different pattern. I guess between the factions it changes colors. So the Iron Teeth are their traditional kind of pink and purplish blue, and then the Iron Teeth have that more yellow hue. Okay, and then we also have some new tools for copying the settings and then also duplicating. I did not use that at all when placing all this stuff down. Well, let's try that here. Okay, so I copied it. Can I apply it? Oh, I just click. I don't think I can't drag, unfortunately. But this is quicker than going around and manually doing it. Specifically going into each one of these and changing it. And so we are part way through making this just monstrosity I have in the middle. And we're only 6 days into the wet season, but it seems like we've already completely charged all these gravity batteries. Having these water wheels spinning has been more than enough power to get everything charged up. We are still a little bit short on canola oil. We do have some canola over here, and we do have that prioritized for these guys. We might want to get another farmhouse set up over here. We can do a little rearranging to fit another farmhouse in this area if we shift where this fluid dump is. And it does look like we are running a little bit short on planks right now, so we can unpause this industrial lumber mill, make sure it's prioritized by haulers, and then prioritize some of the other lumber mills by haulers. In fact, we have quite a few that are paused over here, so we can unpause at least 3 of these. And then extract is starting to go down a little bit. Looks like we don't have all these buildings prioritized by haulers, so we can do the same over here. And since we're adding some more buildings to be prioritized by the haulers, might as well add another hauling post. And we can even do 2, considering we have 16 bots who are not doing anything. And then we have an entire canola farm over here. But even with all this, I guess they're not quite producing enough canola seed. We can expand it over here as well. It seems like these guys are busy enough. We might want to add a second farmhouse. So I want to add some green space over here, but I know I built this up and I think there might be a cavern underneath. If we go down, this level is good, but then 1 level below, we have a bunch of overhangs that are supporting some of the dirt, which means we'll need to have an above ground little 3x3 grid in order to irrigate this area. And the nice thing is that we can have the spiral staircase go directly from the path and then rotate sideways to get up here. And unfortunately we trapped a bot in here, so I'll add a quick little staircase to get him out. We are starting to drop in wood. We're down to 2.6 thousand. We had about 4,000 at the beginning of this episode. We're also running short on pine resin, so unfortunately we'll need to unmark some of these trees, and we'll probably also do the same for some more over here. That way these trees can grow up and produce some pine resin, since we only have 2 at the moment. 140 treated planks is all we got. And I know where all of our planks went. It went into building this massive wall, because it takes a lot of planks for that, and then for the decorations, it takes some wood, planks, and also some extract. At this point we have all the walls placed down. They just need to work on constructing these, but we can get the roofs placed down as well. I think we'll stick with overhangs for these. And if we go along like this, then I think we should be able to fit everything. Might need to replace a few of these platforms with some overhangs as well. And one of the other things they changed in this most recent update is that now they have the warnings displayed in a different spot than some of these items. So all the iron bots that have been broken down and that are created, and then all the beavers that are born, they're listed right here. But I just noticed that we're over 1,500 bots have been created in this world. And then we still have our 18 beavers. Their well-being still sitting at 64, which is just absolutely wild. And we increased how many berries we had by about 100, I think, but now we're hovering right around 360 at the moment. I planted some more of these blueberry bushes and then expanded it way over into this direction. Unfortunately, there's still a few days from even fully growing up, but then after that they should be producing a good amount of berries. We still have our bad water overflow area, which we have not needed to utilize since this whole system has been working really well. It's producing enough power and it's not backing up anymore. And fortunately, it looks like we are back up to just about maxing out our scrap metal, 1.6 thousand. We're still doing really good on metal blocks. We have just under 3 days until a drought, and it also appears that we are experiencing a wood shortage yet again. It seems that this series is destined to have wood shortages forever, although this one was entirely on me. Building all this was pretty unnecessary, but I wanted to see what it would look like if we constructed this massive building around here. Unfortunately, at the expense of wood and planks, so we're really short on those now. Fortunately, we do have some levees that we have stored up over here. We don't really need them because I did end up pausing both of these bad water domes under here since I wanted to have all the bad water evaporate, and then maybe I was going to put some water in here. I don't exactly remember, but in either case we don't really need to have these levees here, so we can remove all these, and that's going to give us a good amount of wood, over 300, and then we can do the same on the backside here. And so with all of these levees removed, that's going to give us a good amount of wood, and hopefully that should help satiate our wood demand for just a little bit. We can also pause some of these engines since we don't actually need them. We're producing way more power than we actually need. And since we did close both of these bad water domes, bad water is not flowing out into here anymore. And I don't think that there's any bad water spawners in this pool, which means that eventually this should lower. But as you can see, we now have clear water over here, and it's starting to spread just a little bit into this area. We could probably add some bad water collection pumps over here because we are running a little bit low on bad water. We were down to just a few hundred at one point. And if we move the paths over to this left side and then remove these ones right here, then this looks like the perfect spot for adding 2 deep bad water pumps. And realistically, we might not be able to fully drain this by the end of the episode, but it would be cool to start lowering it just a little bit and then have some water start filling this up instead. We have plenty of bad water pumps over here that are collecting bad water for us. Technically speaking, it would be better to have these ones at the very end of the system. That way there would be more bad water flowing through here to produce more power, but I don't think power is really an issue for us at this point. And we're still running really low on berries. Only 368 are in this earth repopulator. But it does look like we have a bunch of these blueberry bushes that have fully grown up. Now we're just waiting for them to produce the blueberries. They're about a quarter of the way done over here, and then barely just getting started over here. And the drought has officially started. It is 8 days long, a little bit on the longer side, so that is going to impact our power production. And at this point, the bots are almost done constructing all of these. Really, the last few things that we'll need to do is seal up the top over here. I think we'll need to add one more of these overhangs. I actually have to remove this one and have it in a different spot, because we can actually remove this one entirely, and then we can get these last few placed up top. And now we'll see how much of this they can construct from below. They were constructing a bunch of these from underneath. If they can construct all this, then I'll fill in this last little square banner right here. But if they can't reach it, which it doesn't say they can't reach it, that's awesome. So they're able to construct these, so we can add this last banner in. And then we'll have this one set to the beavers, and then we can copy it to all these ones. And now we have this absolutely massive, completely enclosed building with all of these banners, and all the banners required 4 planks, 2 pieces of wood, and then 1 piece of extract. So you can see where all of our resources went to. Fortunately, we are bouncing back pretty well. We're doing really good on planks, almost maxed out, and then we still have just under 1,000 wood. Probably means we can pause a couple of these lumber mills since we have so many extra planks. And it does look like we got enough berries, so now we can actually go ahead and launch the earth repopulator. So I'm going to do that right now and let you guys enjoy the show. And look at that, we are up to 72 well-being points, and unfortunately we're a little bit too close to it, so we can't actually see where all the beavers are getting launched. And somehow I ended up over here on the side of the map. New well-being high score of 73. I think we might have had... Do we have a baby that was born recently? Because it looks like one beaver is missing basically everything. Plus we're still short on mangrove fruits. And there you have it. We got a congratulations. We now have the flexible start unlocked. The wonder has been completed for the iron teeth. It took us 739 beaver days. And we have significantly more bots manufactured than we have beavers that were born. Over 10 times as many. And we do have the mangrove fruits over here. Looks like we have some of them that are very close to being fully matured. And it does look like we had a baby born just the other day. So that should increase our well-being once that baby has gotten around and been able to do all the fun activities to get their well-being up. And then we'll prioritize this guy by haulers once he starts picking stuff. And then we can also get some storage for the mangrove fruits over here. And then we can also prioritize this small warehouse by haulers. And that is another thing they added. It's a small quality of life change, but being able to prioritize buildings by haulers before they've been constructed, in my opinion, that is a pretty good quality of life change. So now that we have launched everything, we don't really need to have all these berries, but I guess we're going to have them growing anyways. Hopefully they don't start trying to fill this up immediately. And they are. Okay. So I guess we're perpetually going to be short on treated planks and berries. Fortunately, we've stacked up some treated planks. And it looks like in terms of blueberries, we are once again not having any. Completely empty. But we have a new well-being high score again up to 74. I think that 75 is the max. And I do like that the well-being high score is not as big and obnoxious as it was before. Now it's much smaller and compact. And look at that, we are up to 75. I think that everyone, well, maybe we can go up higher. Looks like we are missing just a few decimals of a well-being point. Based on adding everything up, I'm getting 76 as a well-being maximum. So we are very close to hitting that max number now. Oh, we are so close. We have 75 well-being points, but we're only missing food. Like, that is the only thing that the beavers need to get. So it could be this evening that we hit that 76 mark. So we're still at 75. We did not hit the 76 mark, unfortunately. But let's see what the benefits are. Looks like their life expectancy is plus 120%. Their movement speed is plus 70%, and then they work 260% faster. You know, we could also try and drain this area by demolishing some of these over here. And honestly, it wouldn't take too much to get over here. We're pretty close as is. We just need to make a few platforms and then probably make a bridge across here. Looks like it is just one tile short. Fortunately, we should be able to use the 1x1 suspension bridge and complete the journey. And since we only have bots working over here, we don't need to worry about them being contaminated. And there you have it. We hit 76 well-being points. So we are officially maxed out. So every beaver should be showing that they are 100% all the way up at the top. But I do want to see what it looks like if we can lower all of this. And then once the drought is over, then water is going to start returning to here. And then this should look a little bit cleaner. This was very blue before, so I don't exactly know how we got this so that it looks much more contaminated like it is at this moment. I know I have been pumping water into here, and that's filling this reservoir up. But I didn't realize there was so much bad water mixed in here. And it looks like we have all the dynamite placed up top. Now we're just waiting on the last few pieces to be constructed down here. And then we do have to remove these stairs and get those ones constructed as well. So we're going to work our way backwards and up. So we'll detonate this. And then this double dynamite. And let's see what it looks like when we detonate the triple dynamite. And there's just an absolute massive amount of bad water flowing through here. It's going to lower this probably at least a couple levels. But the water graphics just look so cool now. And we only have 1.3 days until the drought is over. So the bad water is going to continue to flow out here. And then the water will be flowing over this direction and this direction. So hopefully it'll clear out the rest of the bad water from here. And it looks like there's still probably another full tile that the bad water can drop in terms of the elevation. Plus we have these two bad water pumps doing their best to pump some of the bad water out. And it looks like we are completely out of power for these gravity batteries. So we're really just depending on bad water power going through here. And then I think that these ones are probably also empty. We could always add more gravity batteries, but as we are wrapping up the episode, I think that it is okay We can probably turn on some of the engines if we want to, since we're doing great on wood now. And with that, the drought is officially over. We are beginning cycle 37, and so the water is going to start filling this back up. And I'm just really tempted to do one more project, but it might be a little bit too big. The water will be flowing out this way, and there's a lot of bad water in here. As you can see, the water will flow out and then immediately start going in this direction. If we built a wall that went across here, that would make the water go around and then flow all the way around here and then out through this, which would help push the bad water out of this area, and it would make a lot more green space around. So we're going to work on both ends. We'll start over here. We'll use dirt blocks because I don't want us to run out of wood again. And then we can utilize one of the tricks that I've said in some of the previous episodes. If you place down a storage building and then have it set to prioritize building by haulers, in this case it'll be for dirt, and then set it to obtain, then the haulers can bring the dirt here and then the builders can access it much quicker. And then on this other side we can use tubes to go along here, and then we can build with some levees going along in this direction. And then we'll basically just build over until they meet up right here. And hopefully the beavers can construct this fairly quickly. We have it going from both ends, and then we're also utilizing multiple resources. So I'm hoping that that'll prevent us from running out of either dirt or wood in order to construct all this. But it's also not too big of a project. In fact, if we continue going around here with the tubes, that might make it even faster, because these guys can only go one at a time right here. So they're just building it up in this direction, whereas the beavers should be able to construct everything from the side down. And so my guess is that the beavers will actually be going through here to construct this part of the dirt. And you can still tell that there is some reddish tint in the water here. It's a little bit more apparent as it's flowing down this waterfall, but that is going to be going out in this direction as well. And so as they continue to build the dirt blocks up over here, hopefully it's going to help clean this up a little bit, make it a lot nicer. At which point, if the bad water were to evaporate out of here, which it's going to take a bit longer for that to happen, but after that evaporated and this does, then we really only have the bad water in the main two sections, this small area where it's produced, and then this humongous bad water pool which feeds into our power system. And if we want to clean this up even faster, one thing we can do is add some floodgates over here. We don't exactly... oh, we do have access. We can just tie these paths in really quickly, and they constructed those floodgates immediately. So now the water is going to start focusing its way over through here. And as we wrap up this project, this episode, and this series, I just want to thank you guys for sticking around, even when some of the uploads have not been as frequent as I would like. But hopefully moving forward, I'm going to be able to do some more live streams and then also get some videos uploaded on a weekly basis. If you guys haven't checked it out already, last weekend I streamed starting fresh on one of the new maps that the Timberborn creators made. And it's a little bit different than some of the normal maps, so take a look at that video / live stream if you haven't done so already. But it looks like they are done, so now the water is pushing its way over here, and that's going to be slowly filtering some of the bad water out of the system. So before we wrap up today's episode, let's do a quick recap of what we've done in this whole series. We started over here, and I can hardly remember it, but there was a big mound in the middle. That was one of the initial obstacles that we were dealing with. We had our colony start basically over here, and then we really had to depend on the water in this area. But as you can see, we've expanded it dramatically, so now we have a bunch of trees around. We have our main city, which has all of the monuments and then basically everything that a beaver could need. As you can see, there's a few of them dancing right here. And then to expand our production, we moved over into this other dome. There used to be, I think it was water. I can't remember if it was water or bad water, but there was one of those two in here at one point. But now we have a massive amount of production buildings. And then underneath, we also have a lot of trees. We have just a massive amount of oak trees since they are super efficient at producing wood. And then we have our ring of power wheels that go all the way around. And it seems like there's just so many tree farms around here as well. We have one last power production area. And this has been essential at getting us a consistent amount of power. Because throughout this series, as you guys know, we were running a bit short on power during some of the droughts. But this helped to give us a little bit of a buffer there. And of course you can't forget that we have this humongous building, which don't really know why I made it, but we got to show off some of these different square banners, and you can upload your custom patterns, which there's a lot that you could do with that. So be sure to leave a comment on what some of your favorite parts of this update are. And if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does mean a lot to me. And with that, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.